Hi, welcome to Everyone Can Jam. This is lesson 2 of Unit 1 in Music Language Basics, and you should have watched lesson 1, and you should have these PDFs already printed. In lesson 1 we looked at C major scale and G major scale. Now in lesson 2 we're going to be looking at our next scale is D major. So in the upper left hand corner of your paper, write D, and under key of D where it says blank major scale, write D major scale, and over the number 1 write a D, over the number 2 write E, over the number 3 write F, over the number 4 write G, over the number 5 A, and then B, and then C, and then D. And you remember in lesson 1, in the key of G, when we just wrote out the letters and we played them, they didn't sound right. And let's see what happens now for key of D. I'm going to play just what we have written, starting with D. D, E, F, G. Okay. To some of you that won't sound right, it's not wrong, it's just not a major scale. And so let's look at our half steps and whole steps. Between the first note and the second note is supposed to be a whole step. So D to E, is that a whole step? D to E is a whole step because there is a note in between. From our second note to our third note is supposed to be a whole step. Is E to F a whole step? E to F actually is a half step. There's nothing in between. So remember how we fixed that in key of G by making the F sharp? So we need to make this F here an F sharp. So if this is an F sharp, that means there's a whole step from our second note to our third note. And F sharp to G, look, F sharp to G is a half step. So now we have a half step where it belongs, between the third and fourth note. Our fourth to fifth note is supposed to be a whole step. G to A is a whole step. Our fifth to sixth note is supposed to be a whole step. A to B is a whole step. And 6 to 7 is supposed to be a whole step, but look down here. B to C is a half step. So we're going to fix that by making the C a C sharp, which will also mean that C sharp, which is our seventh note, will be a half step away from D, and we'll have that half step here where we need it. So make C sharp, and let's play that again with an F sharp and a C sharp. Okay, here we go. I'm thinking where you can see. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. Ta-da! Sounds like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And then down under your D major scale, the blank says spell a blank major chord, so spell a D major chord, and just like before, when you spell the chord, it's going to be the first note, third note, and fifth note. And don't forget your third note is sharp, so it's D, F sharp, A. So in the blanks you write D, F sharp, A, just like that, D, F sharp, A. That's how you spell a D major chord. This is going to be a really important thing to know later. How many sharps? So if look back up at your scale and you see you have F sharp and C sharp, so that's 2 sharps. And when you list the sharps, it's F sharp and C sharp. And that was key of D. Now we're going to do key of A. So in the upper left-hand corner, write key of A. Under that, write A major scale, and over the number 1, you're going to write A. Just like the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and A. So now I can point out something that's kind of a little trick that helps here. I want you to notice something. In key of G, we had F sharp. In key of D, we still have F sharp. And the one we added is up here on the 7th note, C sharp. So guess what's going to happen? Whatever you have in this key, the one we go to next, you still have those. So in key of A, we're going to keep the C sharp and the F sharp. So the reason I'm going ahead and I'm writing C sharp and F sharp, one reason is to save time, but also in the last one we did, key of D, we had C sharp and F sharp, and so because of the order I've chosen, we're still going to have C sharp, we're still going to have F sharp. And then guess what? In this 7th note spot, this is going to be the one that we sharp. And let's go ahead and write G sharp and look at the keyboard, and you'll see why. So this is, what do we do? Let's see, key of A. So see, A to B, first note to second note has to be a whole step. Second note to third step has to be a whole step, and because we wrote C sharp, that is a whole step. Between the third note and the 4th note has to be a half step, and C sharp to D is a half step. Then we need a whole step, and because we had F sharp, we kept F sharp, we have a whole step. And then because we added G sharp, we now have a whole step between our 6th and 7th note, and our 7th note to our 8th note is a half step. Cool. So underneath your scale it says spell a blank major chord. That's going to be A major chord, and I bet you can spell it now. Same way you spelled the others, with the 1st note, the 3rd note, and the 5th note. So the way you spell an A major chord is A, C sharp, E. And underneath there it says how many sharps. Key of A has 3 sharps. So what we're doing is we're going in a special order, so we just add 1 sharp each time. And list the sharps. You're going to have C sharp, F sharp, and G sharp. And that was key of A. We're just going to do one more key in this 3-lesson series here, and our next key is going to be key of E. And so under key of E, write E major scale. And under E major scale, you're going to, in spot number 1, write an E. And just like the alphabet, E, F, G. Don't worry about your sharps and flats yet. Just write like the alphabet. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. And then think about your sharps. Okay, in the last key we did, we're going to keep all those sharps. So the C sharp, the F sharp, and the G sharp, we keep them. So go through and make C sharp, make F sharp, and make G sharp. And remember the spot that every time we've added a sharp, it's been here. So in the order that we're going to have to make D sharp in order. And let's just check it out and see what we have. E to F sharp. So where's E? See, we need a whole step between the 1st note and the 2nd note. E to F sharp is a whole step. 2nd note to 3rd note needs to be a whole step, and we have G sharp. And then after G, we need after G sharp, we need a half step, so we have A. And then we need a whole step, and we have B. And then we need a whole step, and our next note is C sharp, which is a whole step. And then we need from our 6th note to our 7th note to be a whole step. So we have D sharp, which is a whole step, and then D sharp to E is a half step. So our 7th to our 8th note is a half step. And so we know that we do want to make this D a D sharp. So we kept all the sharps we had before, and we added D sharp. And you will notice also there's so many fun patterns, things that happen over and over again that you'll notice. You'll understand this order better in the 3rd lesson, but just notice that this is key of E, and so the sharp we're adding is always the letter below this, so it's D, and it's D sharp is the one that we're adding. Things like this come in handy later when you're improvising and stuff. So, okay, under your E major scale, it spells, you're going to write E in the blank, spell an E major chord. Can you spell an E major chord now? First note, third note, and fifth note. So it's E, G sharp, B. And underneath that, how many sharps? We have 4 sharps now. And if you list them, it's going to be F sharp, G sharp, C sharp, and D sharp. Ta-da! So in lesson 3, we're going to work on the 3M. And we're going to use what you just made to fill out this chart, and you're going to make some really cool connections that they help so much when you're trying to play by ear, when you're trying to write a song, when the song is in the wrong key. You'll understand what that means when people are talking about keys, and if you think the song's too high for your voice, you can change it to a different key and make your voice comfortable and sound good. So join me again in lesson 3.